What is going on, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the No Plan B podcast. Joe and I, we sat down, and this week's guest is Chaed Wellian, born and raised in the Netherlands, told us his whole story into pro basketball and how he just came back to his home country, playing basketball back now in Rotterdam. He spoke about his time in Germany, about how he got through his youth playing basketball, and a lot of other stories. So let's get straight into it. Enjoy Chaed Wellian. Let's go.
Ik zat stil eigenlijk met Feyenoord, altijd naar Van der Vlist om top zoeken. Die moet het maar weer oplossen met Wellian. Ja, die zijn ze wel makkelijk door aan de hoog.
Good defense by Gavin. Wellian.
The way that we played basketball this year, the way that we trained was extremely intense.
I mean, it's a win-win. You're improving your performance by enhancing your recovery when using PSR, and you're adding extra years onto your career.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the No Plan B podcast. That's the homie René, and that's the homie. I had to make sure I got his name right, put some respect on his name. Chaed Wellian. Got a nice game on him. I love his game. He's got a handle. He can take you off the dribble. He shoots threes. And only the reason I'm going to keep it politically correct is because every team he ever played for here in Germany, once he was gone, they sure missed this guy. I'll leave it right there. What's going on, Chaed? How you doing, bro?
Going well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure, bro. It's our pleasure. You know, I like to give my guys all their roses while they're balling and respect their game. And, you know, because really, man, I love your game because, you know, you're just such a, you know, you're a pure shooter, man. I tell people, you know, you gotta get the reps in to be able to shoot, you know, the way you do. But it's also, you know, sometimes I just think it's something from God also, you know, when you see these guys like Curry or dudes like you, and, you know, I wasn't a shooter, so I don't really understand it, but I'm sure you understand it. Real talk. So let's go back to where this whole pro basketball journey started, man. Where did it all begin for you? Was it AAU or youth club, or how did this all begin?
Yeah, so for me, it started at a youth club because I grew up in Amsterdam most of the till I was like 15, 16. And yeah, for me, it was just, I started off picking up a basketball as soon as like I was little. My mom just gave me a ball and just, you know, like, oh, okay, he's projected to be tall. Let me just put him in a sport. And basketball ended up sticking with me. I played tennis too. I played a whole bunch of other sports as well, but basketball was the one for me that stuck with me. And just ever from a young age, I was like, yeah, this is a sport for me. So it was at a youth team, and then moved over to States, went JUCO. And yeah, I just had that vision from a young age, like I want to be a pro.
That's beautiful, man. That's really beautiful. Let's fast forward to that because I try to explain it to a lot of different people. You know, I played D1, D2, and JUCO, so I really get it. But a lot of people don't understand that, you know, JUCO American basketball is real, man. Like, there's some real wars going on over there, man. And especially for you, respect to you and salute, because a lot of the young European guys I have here, I keep telling them, hey, man, listen, you know, I know you're a great player here, but it just would really help you to see another side of the world, to go see American basketball. You know, I mean, you know it yourself after going through it, the pep rallies, the big time games, the hostile environments. So let's talk a little bit about your JUCO experience. First, did you enjoy it? And second, did it help make you the dog you are right now? Because you got some, hey, ladies and gentlemen, he's a humble guy, but he got some dog in him, right? Like, he ain't scared of the opponents on no level. So let's keep that real.
Yeah, so my JUCO experience, and I have to be honest, it wasn't the best. My first year, let's say the first couple months, I hated it. It wasn't necessarily a culture shock, but it was more like I got into a world where I really realized, okay, these are dudes who are really trying to make it. They're really trying to make something for themselves. And you know, coming over from European basketball, you know, it's competitive. But as soon as you go to the States and then, you know, you witness some people, that's all they got is sports.
Right.
So, and and JUCO gives them the chance to, like, if the grade's not right, to just gives them a chance to still hoop, and might even still make it D1 or any other level. And so my first couple months, man, I got tested.
Yeah.
Almost every single day. It wasn't a single day, even in the dorms, I got tested. Like, man, it's like I remember calling my mom, like, Mom, I want to come home. Like, this is not it for me. And my mom
Yeah.
said, ain't no option of coming home. Like, you don't even have a room here no more. So you better stay over there.
That's tough love.
Exactly. But man, that experience was the best experience. I wouldn't change it for nothing, man. That it molded me to the player I am today. It helped me in life. It just made me stronger.
Exactly. And that's the point, because it's like you said, when people don't have, I mean, it's no plan B. I was one of those dudes that it was just like, all right, either I'm going to play in the NBA or, I mean, I'm going to be suicidal. Like, there's just no other goal for me. You know what I mean? And for me to not be able to make it, and then to be able to bounce back and come over here and overseas and hoop, it's just a dream come true. And putting that shoe on the other foot, for you, it was a dream to go to American ball, but those people were testing you. A lot of those guys tested you. But let me ask you this question. I know this feels good to answer. How did it feel once you finally was like, okay, cool, y'all been testing me, but guess what? Now I'm here and I will give you buckets and I'll bust your ass. And I know that feeling was great once your teammates started to accept you and be like,
Exactly.
hey, hold on now. My boy from Amsterdam can hoop now. Hold on. Put some respect on that name. How'd that
No,
feel?
exactly, man. It was a great feeling, man. It was just to be, at some point, just to be embraced and more even respected. Like okay, this guy, we see him as a brother now. Like, we had to put him through a little test, and he came through. And at some point, it also helped me. Like, they just try to help me make my game better. But you know how it is, especially in JUCO. Everybody wants to eat in JUCO, and I don't know how it is now, but I mean, I would say I got the last worst of it, because man, it was rough. But I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
it was a great experience. I still talk to most of my teammates from JUCO. We still pretty cool. So it was, one of the best experiences I've had, man.
Man, that's beautiful, bro. I always say, man, a lot of people love the cliche ball is life, but for dudes like me, for dudes like you, for dudes like René, people that really love this game, man, like, ball is really life. You meet so many new friends and homies for life and all that. So let's fast forward to the pro scene, man. So where did that begin? Where did you start your rookie season off as a pro?
I started my rookie season in Denmark. I played for the
Nice.
Swinborg Rabbits, and I had a great opportunity. I didn't really play a lot my senior year at Tennessee State. So, I mean, I did play enough, but it wasn't like to a significant amount of where I could put enough numbers and, have a good transition into my pro career. But I was lucky enough to get opportunity with the team. I played for the national team coach of Iceland, Craig Peterson. I think they actually just beat Italy for the qualifiers. And he taught me so much, man. Like, just the IQ level of the game. Like, I was very young. I was very, how would I say, like, when you come out of college, you think you the man. When you come out of college, go pro, you finally get a little money in your pocket. And you
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Nobody can tell you nothing. And, and he kind of, like, made sure, like, okay, you need to learn how to slow things down and, how to use your mind at some point and, just mature your game. And so I started off there, and we had a great team, man. We had a point guard from Argentina who played for the national team. He played for the Olympics, played against the USA team in 2008 with Ginobili. Antonio Porter. We had another dude, Janelle Smith, Will Paul, and we made it to the semifinals against Horsens. I'm pretty sure you might know the team. And
for sure,
they beat us 3-2 in the playoffs in the semifinals, and we lost in the semifinals in the cup. So my rookie year was a pretty good year for me.
Nice. And what other countries did you play in? Just give us a real quick quick journey. Take us down there real quick, because I know René is going to have some awesome off the court questions for you in a sec.
I got you. After Denmark, I went to Sweden. Then after Sweden, I went to Germany, and I stayed in Germany for a little while. Then I went to Italy for a couple of months. Didn't like it, got up out of there. Then I went to the UK, went back to Germany, played in Iceland, and then I ended up in the Netherlands where I'm at now.
Nice. That's a globetrotter right there, people. Been all over the world, people, because he
Right.
loves basketball, people. Let's go,
Exactly.
René. Jump in there, bro.
Yeah, of course, if you have played in so many different countries, what's interesting for people who might not know about basketball in those countries, first question would be like, what was the difference? First, you of course you played in the States. When you came to Europe, in Denmark especially, what were like the big differences between basketball over there and here, in parts of the game, of how it's coached, probably, and yeah, what was probably especially these unexpected differences, not only those that we all know,
Okay.
like we play more defense. Some people say here it's a bit different, and I think even back then, I think is it the same now? Like the 3-point line is closer, and the whole court is a bit smaller. That makes it kind of easier to defend. But yeah, what was your impression when you came here?
When I played college, the 3-point line was definitely closer. I think they actually have moved it recently a little further, but not like to the same as to the pro level. I'm not sure about now. But as far as the difference, yeah, my pro year, I really had to understand, like, this is not a place where you are a baby, you are taken care of. It's a place where you hold yourself accountable, because first of all, we're paying you to do a job. And is this a business? If you don't do the job, then somebody else will replace you and do the job for you. So, but basketball wise, it was more cerebral for me. It was more slow it down, because let's be honest, in college, you have most teams have athletes. They have just natural gifted athletes. Yeah. And as soon as you come across waters over here in Europe or anywhere else, it's not always the case. It's always you have teams where you have players that have to understand the game and try to adapt it in a different way and use their abilities, just play their roles and know their roles. Because I feel like in college it's a little bit more, you have roles, but it's still room for improvement. You're always working on something in college. You're always doing your individual workouts, trying to get better at something. It's just perfecting your craft. In the pros, it's just, you're good at that. That's what you're doing. We don't need you to do nothing else. If we bringing you in to shoot, just shoot. We don't expect you to do nothing else. If you're a defender, play defense. We don't expect you to do nothing else. So that was also for me when I was there my first year. It was just, I am good in doing multiple things on the court. Sure. But when I got there, it was more like, we understand that you want to dribble the ball. I said, that's how it got put to me. We understand that you want to dribble the ball and do certain things, but that's not what I need you to do. What I need you to do is shoot the open shot, make the right decision, give the extra pass, and that's all I need you to do. And then go rebound. That's all I need you to do. Yeah. So for me, it was an adjustment of actually having to listen, like, be coachable, like, and hard reality check. Like, if you don't do it, then somebody else will. And I had Joe knows me very well. I had a season in Itzehoe with Patrick Elsie, and we started off, I think, 0-3, and Pat had pulled us to the side, and he gave us that talk, like, hey, look, guys, I need y'all to do something, because you guys are the imports, and if y'all can get the job done, somebody else will have to do it.
Yeah, right. But guess what, people? He's being humble. He got the job done because he's got shake and bake in his game, and he's a dog, okay? So he's just being humble, people. He took that, he listened to that advice, and he took it to heart, and yeah, he earned his stripes.
And just how you explained that, and then for you as a player, especially as a young player, it feels a lot more like people expect more from you, right? And
Yeah.
coaches, and that way you also face more resistance in some case, right? On the court.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, the pressure is there. It's nonstop. It's nonstop pressure. I mean, it's not even from the coach, also from the fans.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole different ball game, because it's people take so much pride in sports, especially in small towns, especially like if you know, I was in a small town and everybody knew everybody, and you know, and if you lose in a point game, you just feel like you let people down, and it's a lot of pressure. It takes a big toll on you mentally, but I mean, it helps you at the same time.
I can tell you that it's the same here in Germany, and Joe might have a few examples of that as well. Sometimes not even professional clubs, teams here in the first, second Regionalliga, they have really strong fan bases, and that's crazy.
Absolutely.
And sometimes in small towns where you don't know what things are going on, and then there's this facility, probably 500 people in there or 1,000, and it's getting crazy in there.
Absolutely.
And how was that for you? And how was that for you? If you have all those countries together, like, was there a place where you, off the court, really enjoyed being there? A country that you said, oh, you probably underestimated how cool it is here?
Yeah, it was. Well, of course, there's Italy. Italy is a beautiful country, good weather and all. But
where were you?
For me,
Italy?
It was called Viterbo. It was Viterbo. It was an hour north of Rome.
Okay, so Rome area, like in the center of Italy.
Right. Yeah. So I got to explore Italy a little bit, which was amazing. But for me, it was Iceland.
Okay.
Iceland was for me the most surprising place where I was like, wow, this is actually beautiful.
And why?
It was just things you don't really see that often. Like just I was there during the winter time, in which it gets really, really, really cold, and you see nothing
dark.
but snow. It's almost dark, exactly. But at the same time, it's amazing, man. You see the northern lights, and you just start walking. It's quiet, like it's peaceful. It's a small population, but people are always nice. It's like you always feel safe almost, and the scenery is beautiful. You have mountains around you, geishas, and man, it's amazing, man. Like they have so many places where you're like, wow, like I didn't know this exists.
Man, that is awesome. And let me throw this out there, man, because I have these conversations every day with different Americans. You know, I'm heavy in this business, and you know, I really take pride in guiding guys through the business. But a lot of times I just get to the point where I feel like, okay, there's certain players I just can't help. They don't get it. And I feel like they're going to really they're just not built for pro basketball in Europe. What advice would you give to that player who really thinks that, I mean, me and you both know this without saying any names. There's so many Americans that come to Europe and they really believe like, okay, I'm just going to come to Europe and play in this high league or this high league because of my arrogance and because of my self-proclaimed pro basketball skill set, you know. And a lot of guys think that it's really easy to come over here and get paid to ball, and then they run into a dude like you who's can do everything and gives them buckets. So what would you give? What advice would you give to the guy who really thinks that it's easy to play pro basketball in Europe?
I would say, like, first of all, it's a good thing that you have that confidence, right? Because otherwise, you probably shouldn't be playing the sport if you don't have the confidence that they have. But I would say, be coachable, be able to listen to things around you, be able to get out your bubble. I think it's very important to just be able to adapt to certain situations. And sometimes you just have to be humble. And if you think, okay, I'm supposed to play at a pro A level, which is you entitled to that opinion, but if you don't get pro A offers, maybe you should take the long route, start at a Regio team and work your way up. And if you say who you are, then eventually you're going to get up there anyway, right? Because you said that's who you are. You a Pro A player. So if you're in the Regio, you kill Regio, you average triple doubles, eventually you're going to get to the Pro A.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. That's a good thing, man. I appreciate you for saying that too, because I tell guys all the time, hey man, listen, bro, you know, see a guy like you, it's different because you can do, like you even said it yourself, you can do multiple things, you know. In my playing days, I couldn't do multiple things, but I could do one thing well. So I just kept doing that. And I tell guys, hey man, at the end of the day, what you have to do is just be honest with yourself, you know, that because let's keep it real. It's not easy to get paid to do any sport. If it was that easy, everyone would be doing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Jump back in there, René. Jump back in there, bro.
Yeah, and what you just said, it applies to everything in life, actually. All the things that are kind of when you're passionate about something, when you have a big goal, it's never that easy. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it. About your time in Germany, we had quite a lot of players that came from the USA to Germany. And what was your experience here? You have been here probably, I would say 20 or 18 to 20 hours of a day off the court. Like, how was that for you dealing with this kind of, let's say, you have been kind of isolated from what you had before when you lived in the States or wherever?
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I have a lot of family in the Netherlands, so it wasn't that far away.
Talked about that, sure.
Nice.
Yeah, but at the same time,
probably even for you, it was kind of different, or wasn't it? Because of your ties to the Netherlands, because you grew up there. Was it easier for you?
It was easier to adapt because I'm used to both lifestyles. You know, I've seen the culture in Europe, I've seen the culture in the States, so it was easy for me to adapt. Like Germany is right next door, so I mean, it wasn't that hard for me to really adapt. But yeah, it was. I actually enjoyed my time in Germany the most.
Okay.
Like as in like comfortability, as in like being able to go places. The like public transportation is probably it is great in Germany. You can go anywhere you want with public transportation. You can get anything, go to any store.
You can't do that in the US. It's very hard in some places, right?
That's
some of the disadvantages of the United States.
Exactly, especially in the South. Like I was in Atlanta, then I was in Nashville, and I mean, you had to have a car everywhere you went. Like, yeah, you cannot walk 5 miles just to go to a little store real quick.
Yeah. And what was probably something? What did you probably miss? What can Germany learn from the United States? Maybe in terms of, I don't know, you could say anything, but probably also in terms of the basketball, the organization, everything around it. We talked a lot about youth development. It's pretty rough. It's pretty, let's say, difficult to do that really good because a lot of things are like in public hand and not not that great organized as with high school and college. What's your take on that?
That's what I was about to say. I think I would mixing more of education and sports and more like preparing them for that next level of sports in the school system. I think some places have it. I think Ulm has a pretty good
they're
program
building it up right now. Yeah, this Orange Academy or something like that.
Exactly. And like stuff like that. I mean, but that is coming from like a team. That's not really coming from like a school itself. Like the team is really doing that, like making sure the players get their work in and they, you know, do all this stuff. But I think that's what any country in Europe really can learn from, or not learn from, but like kind of adapt. Like when you have really players that really focused on sport and really want to do that, combine it. Like over in the States, you have high school basketball from middle school all the way up to college. It's incorporated with sports, any sport, and they give out scholarships. I think that is one of the most amazing things I've seen that a country can do, as like provide opportunities for, let's say, the less fortunate who can't really get an education, who can get an education for free because they don't want to take out loans or don't want to be in debt. And
Right.
it's just a way of giving back. I think that's a kind of a win-win situation that I think
Yeah.
it should be over here as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
for
super
sure.
hard, and Joe can definitely relate to that. For kids, even if they have a dream and if they are working on it and if they really want it, it's sometimes still hard to give them something back. Or what would you say,
Absolutely.
Joe? It's super hard for some kids.
Yeah, it's tough because it's basically it's also, I mean, how can you say it's just a different environment and a different vibe, right? And we go
Yeah.
back to what Chad said. It's like if you have everything already, if you're already comfortable, then it's going to be a different mindset if you're the person who walks inside of a house and opens a refrigerator and there's nothing to eat in there, and you're just like, okay, cool. You know what? Like, I really need to take this basketball thing serious, but I don't want to get on too much negativity right now because I got to keep it positive. And before you go, Chad, I got to ask the question I love to ask our guests. What advice would you give to your young seeds or to any young guy who comes into that gym in Rotterdam and looks up at you and is in love with you, loves your game, and one day wants to be you? What advice would you give that young player who wants to be a pro one day? A guy that
First of
wants to
all,
be you.
I would say don't be me, be better. I think
Preach.
Yeah, very good.
He's humble, people.
No, for real. It's I think setting an example is very important, especially as I'm getting older. I realize that too. A lot of young kids, here in the gym, also just even our rookies, like young players. And I've had an encounter with one of our rookies, and it wasn't necessarily a good encounter, but it was we both learned from that situation. It was a situation where I got away with certain things that he couldn't get away with, and he said, "Why should I do it? Because you do it too." And it kind of clicked in my head, like, you know what, young fella, you're actually right. But I told him, I said, I can get away with it because I put in the work over all these years. Right. That's why I get away with it.
Exactly.
But you're 100% right. At the same time, I should set an example for you and show you that. Let me show you how it's done. So I think setting an example, just showing, keep working hard, and I would say, out of my experience, just be coachable and be able to listen and know when not to say a thing, know when not to say anything, and just listen and keep working.
Yeah, hey, man, we appreciate that, bro, because you're so right. And I'll take that a step further because I'm in the business, so it's like as soon as if there's a player and I'm trying to pitch this guy to the agents I work with, and they're calling me back and they're like, oh, well, I just talked to that dude's coach and the coach said that he's not coachable. And then now all of a sudden, here we go. Now it's not only something that you should have corrected, but it's also starting to affect your career. And I know it myself. I've always been like that. When I was a player, I played with my my emotions on my sleeves, and I held players on my team accountable. I cursed at refs, I cursed at coaches, I cursed at players, I cursed at myself, and I found out the hard way that that's not the way to do it. So, man, we appreciate that and respect, because that's
absolutely.
really good. That's beautiful advice, bro. You got to be coachable. You got to listen.
I mean, I'm up here, speaking all these wise words, but I had to learn myself the hard way
to
get to this point, because it's all out of experience, man. Because I've been in some bad situations.
Yeah, for sure. Anything you want to add, Renee?
No, that is even the best players in the world, they are only part of a system. Like a whole basketball club is a system, and it's not even the 5 players on the court. It's also the whole everything, the managers, everyone. It's one system, and they want to be successful together. Even those people who, I don't know, the janitor, the Hausmeister, they are part of the whole system.
Absolutely.
And you have to respect that. And the best player, even if they don't seem like doing that, the best players in the world, they do that.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's why they're so
know
successful.
Your role.
Not only because they shoot threes better or they're the most athletic people. No, they are also good at those things. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. Well, hey, man, we got to say, hey, first and foremost, I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, my man sent me a pic from his view. When I tell you that where he's, it's beautiful. You can see a little bit from behind him, that background. I mean, how do you? Let's talk about that real quick before you go. How's the city you're in now? Because it looks just magnificent, bro.
I'm in Rotterdam, Netherlands. It's a pretty big city. I haven't really explored it yet because I'm from Amsterdam, and if you're from Amsterdam, you can't really, you know, it's like a rival. The soccer teams are big, big rivals. So I'm not really a fan of the city, but it's actually a really nice city. So one of these days, I might really have to explore the city.
Nice. Oh yeah, for sure.
It's one of the few cities. It's one of the few cities in Europe that really has a skyscraper skyline. That's very uncommon for Europe.
Correct.
Beautiful, man.
I think you have that in Frankfurt and there in London, and that's almost it. And I was there a couple of times too with track and field athletes. We had some training camps there, and I love that city too. It's really nice. And so clean.
Yeah, I might have to explore it. Exactly.
No, hold on, man. We don't want to start no beef. I don't want to start the Amsterdam Rotterdam beef.
No. Amsterdam's cool too. So we like both here. On this podcast, we enjoy both.
Magnificent. It's really, I mean, the city you're from is just beautiful, man. So, you know, but at the end of the day, right? I always say to my guys, look at it like this. You're getting paid to do something you love to do. You love basketball. And I mean, come on, it's like a paid vacation, you know? I mean, maybe 5 years ago, you weren't thinking about Rotterdam. You were thinking about playing somewhere else. But because of your skill set, you know what I'm saying? You landed there, and it's a beautiful thing, bro. So it's a paid vacation the way it goes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on, dog. Really appreciate you. You're more than welcome to come on for a part 2 whenever you have the time. Good luck the rest of the season, and I salute you, bro. Love your game, and you're a good dude, man. You're a good humble dude.
Appreciate the love, and thank you guys for having me.
As always, you're welcome.
Not a problem.
Thank you.